talk about Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. Right now, the Tennessee Titans just made a major move. They went out there and they fired the general manager, Rand, after just 2 seasons with the organization. He did a lot of good things, in my opinion. He went out there, he brought in Will Levis. Unfortunately, that experiment has not worked out just yet. But ownership deserves a lot of blame for how this team has looked over the last few years. We have to go back and rewind for a couple of seconds. A couple of years ago, they had A.J. Brown, aging Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. They went to the NFL playoffs and they lost against the Cincinnati Bengals. They lost that matchup. Ryan Tannehill had a terrible game. That was the best it was going to get for the Tennessee Titans with Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry. Then they traded A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. They were hoping that Treylon Burks out of Arkansas was going to be their true number 1 wide receiver. They tried to go cheap. They did not want to pay A.J. Brown, so they shipped him off to the Philadelphia Eagles. And you can see Mike Vrabel on draft day. He was shaking his head. He didn't agree with that move. And that would be one of the first signs that you saw a head coach and general manager were not on the same page. Ownership came out, and she was basically saying, I want my general manager and I want my head coach to be on the same page. If they're not on the same page, someone has to go. They pushed Mike Vrabel out the door. They fired that general manager also because that's going to go down as one of the worst trades in Tennessee Titans history. You traded a bona fide number 1 wide receiver for a guy that can barely get on the field due to injuries and the fact that he can't separate and he can't catch. Treylon Burks is not better than Calvin Ridley. He's not better than Nick Westbrook-Ikine. He's not even better than Tyler Boyd. Treylon Burks, unfortunately, is a bust right now. You could say give him more time, but this man has had time on the field. He is just not a good football player, and he got to play alongside DeAndre Hopkins. So when I look at Treylon Burks, there's not too many redeemable things about him on the field. They just missed on him as a first-round pick, and that's just a terrible trade. But to go back into this discussion, Rand got fired after 2 years. That's not enough time to make an impact on the organization. He brought in Cushenberry at the center position. He drafted Peter Skoronski. He drafted J.C. Latham. He tried to go out there and fix the offensive line in a short window. Isn't that what general managers are supposed to do? To try to come in and fix your biggest problems by bringing in the best players available? That's what he did. And he brought in Tony Pollard, a very good running back. Drafted Tajay Spears. He made the move off of DeAndre Hopkins, and he traded him to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's a good move for the Titans. DeAndre Hopkins was not going to be in Super Bowl contention. With the Titans, you traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, you at least got a pick for him. And you brought in Calvin Ridley. They have put the right weapons around Will Levis. Yes, the right side of the offensive line is terrible. And we saw Will Levis play majority of last season. 8 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He looked better underneath Mike Vrabel than he did Coach Callahan. But the situations are a bit different. The league got more film on him, and they had a huge game plan for him. Now, you can make the case to build around Will Levis and give him one more shot, but this team has the first overall pick, and you're bringing in a brand new general manager who did not select Will Levis. And it's a bunch of conflicting reports that Mike Vrabel really liked Will Levis and the fact that Rand also was a fan of him. At the end of the day, Rand drafted him. And many people thought that he should have went in the first round. He slid into the second round. Now we see why. He did not perform like a second round pick. He performed like a 5th or 6th round pick with how bad he was in certain games. He lost to Tennessee Titans a couple football games against the New York Jets and against the Chicago Bears with those dumb turnovers. They even benched him in favor of Mason Rudolph. And Mason Rudolph is not going to be your long-term guy either. So with that first overall pick, you're bringing in a brand new guy in that front office. Hopefully they can land the quarterback that they want because they should not be trading this pick. The build around Will Levis experiment is not going to work out with the Tennessee Titans. You move off of Will Levis if you have to. Trade him to a different team, and maybe he will find success elsewhere. And I have a lot of questions about the Tennessee Titans. I look at Malik Willis. Malik Willis was struggling immensely with the Titans. He goes over to the Green Bay Packers as a backup. He's won a couple football games, and one of the games came against the Titans. And that's a kick in the groin. Because the kid that you drafted did not work out with you. He looked terrible with the Titans. He never had a passing touchdown with his organization. He goes over to the Green Bay Packers and they defeat this team. And he looked better than Will Levis. And I know for a fact that ownership did not like seeing that on the field. But 2 years is not long enough for a general manager to have a huge impact within an organization. I'm sorry. This is a terrible move. Now, they could possibly bring in another general manager with a brand new philosophy, and maybe he can go out there and he can make the right pieces work and make them stick with this organization. But Rand went out there, he hired Coach Callahan. You bring in a brand new general manager, how will he feel about this coaching staff? How will he feel about some of these players? Because the Tennessee Titans, they have talent. Many people may not know this. They were second in passing defense and second in total defense. Now, the rushing defense was in the bottom of the league, but a lot of that is because your quarterback is turning the football over and your defense is gassed on the field. They have very good defensive talent. Rand did a solid job. And with the first overall pick, they may select Shedeur Sanders, but I could see a coach like Coach Callahan going with someone like Cam Ward. Now, I will come on here. This is not the best class to have the first overall pick in if you're looking for a quarterback, because there's only two quarterbacks that you can go for, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. But the Tennessee Titans, they're definitely going with a quarterback. They don't have allegiance with Will Levis anymore because that general manager and that coach, they're both gone. Mike Vrabel is no longer with the Titans. And now the same can be said for Rand. So you have a brand new general manager. Hopefully they do select Cam Ward. I think that there's more upside with him. Shedeur Sanders is a safer pick, but Shedeur Sanders holds onto the football for too long at times. He's more accurate than Cam Ward, but Cam Ward is the more freakish talent. But you can also scratch your head and say, I don't want Cam Ward because look at Will Levis. Will Levis has all the tools to be a franchise quarterback in this league. With the size, the strength, the mobility, the rocket arm power, he just doesn't have the accuracy and the decision-making at this level. So there could be some concern there for a Cam Ward. But you continue to build this offensive line and free agency. You're not paying a quarterback a lot of money right now. So you're going to have a lot of money to work with to bring in some brand new guards, to bring in a brand new tackle. And you have Coach Callahan, one of the best offensive line coaches the league has ever seen. And you have his son. Now, the jury is still out on him as being a head coach, but it was only so much that he could do with this offense, with how it's constructed right now. They have the right pieces. They have Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, two very good running backs. Calvin Ridley, say what you want. I think that he's a true number one wide receiver. He has just been placed into a bad situation with this organization. And Nick Westbrook-Akine is a very good football player at the wide receiving position. And you have Chika Kongwu at the tight end spot. So this is not a terrible situation for the Titans. I'm just worried about ownership going out there and making the wrong decisions on a yearly basis. This was just a team in the NFL playoffs a couple of years ago. And they were sitting up top of the AFC before Ryan Tannehill went down with the ankle injuries a couple of years ago. And I'm not talking about the season that Will Levis came in and he was a starter last year. I'm talking about the season before. And they had to bring in Josh Dobbs because Malik Willis didn't work out. And I look at this defense. They brought in L'Jarius Sneed. That's the one black eye for Rand. L'Jarius Sneed got injured majority of the season, and he was terrible when he was on the field. But that was a very good move at the time. He was a top cover corner for the Kansas City Chiefs. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out just yet, and they gave him a massive contract extension. So hopefully he can work out with the Titans, which is crazy to think about. They performed very good with him. They performed very good with him on the field when he was playing bad and without him. So give the defensive coordinator a lot of credit there. Jeffrey Simmons is a very good pass rusher, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles on the season. Harold Landry, 9 sacks. You have guys that can go out there, that can get to the quarterback. Chidobe Awuzie, you knew that they're going to go out there and sign him. He's a former Cincinnati Bengal. That is where this head coach was an offensive coordinator at. So you knew they were going to bring him in. They could use another wide receiver because Tyler Boyd, he's behind his prime. He's not the same slot wide receiver that he once was. But you can easily draft a guy like that in the 3rd or 4th round, and they can develop with Coach Callahan because he got to sit underneath Zach Taylor and watch that whole philosophy play out with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. They have a lot of money to play with, and they have talent. But I don't know about going out there and firing your general manager before he got the chance to really make a huge impact with the organization. Maybe you guys think different. Maybe it's a good decision in your opinion. Let me know in the comment section below. But I think the Tennessee Titans will be fine. You select the quarterback that you want with the first overall pick, and please have patience. I feel like in today's league, we've developed a nasty habit. If you're not Jaden Daniels, if you're not CJ in his first season, if you're not Bo Nix, they automatically write you off as a bust. And to the Tennessee Titans' credit, they didn't do that with Will Levis. They tried to work things out with him. They tried to put the right pieces on the field. Hopefully they go out there and they get another tackle and another guard, and this offensive line looks better, because that has been the biggest Achilles heel with the Tennessee Titans. Forget the quarterback play for a second. This offensive line was terrible even when Ryan Tannehill was in the game. You saw some of those big veterans lead the team, and they haven't been the same since then. But you have young players on this line. Continue to build up the offensive line. Get the quarterback that you want, either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, and you should be fine in this division. And when I look at this division, the teams in this division, they're not the best teams. The Houston Texans, yes, they have CJ. They have a great defense. Look at their offensive line. Look at their offensive play caller. The Indianapolis Colts, it is still a bunch of question marks about Anthony Richardson and that entire franchise as a whole, and the same with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Tennessee Titans could be a couple moves away from contending in this division. They defeated the Houston Texans this year, and Will Levis threw a pick six in that matchup. And I'm not talking about the last game of the regular season. I'm talking about a couple weeks ago. That defense made a huge impact on CJ, and they basically won them the game. And Will Levis has some good moments. He had the 2 passing touchdowns. It's just the 1 interception that went for a touchdown. And that's the one thing with Will Levis that is so frustrating. He will go out there and he will have good moments. And then the next thing you know, he'll turn the football over. He'll put you behind the 8 ball. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about this situation with the Tennessee Titans, and who should they draft with the first overall pick? Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, or should they trade the pick? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.